Hello my ducks, it's Simon here, welcome back to the Hermit's Cave. So this video that I've decided to do today is mainly because it was a request from a subscriber, a new subscriber called Selena. In fact, if I remember, I'll insert the message, but she's one of many people over the last almost 6 years of being on YouTube where I've been asked to do a how to read tarot, particularly the RWS, because most people know that that's the system that I'm probably most familiar with, most comfortable with. And I've always resisted doing it, mainly because I don't know, I guess I've always thought that learning the tarot was a very personal thing. And, you know, everybody has their own journey and their own way of reading cards. And I'm very mindful that if I was to sit here saying you should do this or you should do that, then that can be seen as gatekeeping, and that's something that I'm very much opposed to. So what I've decided to do is share a little bit about how I learned the RWS, the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot tradition. I'm not going to be talking about Marseille, I'm not going to be talking about Thoth. It's just purely about the Rider-Waite-Smith and how I kind of learnt the meanings, the keywords. I'm going to recommend some books, some beginner decks, and just talk to you really about my journey in learning the cards. So if that interests you, continue watching. I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to talk to you about, you know, choosing a deck, connecting with the deck, some books that I found useful in my tarot practice. But again, there's a plethora of books out there and beginner decks. So these are just the ones that I found quite useful. I would be interested in hearing about your journey, so do leave comments below. But yeah, I'm going to share with you how I learned the RWS. Okay, so I guess first things first is to talk about my journey with the tarot. I'm going to just grab a deck. Now, if you have been subscribed to my channel, you will know that I didn't start out with the RWS. My first encounter, actually, it just so happens I've got a different version of it here, but my journey with the tarot started with the 1JJ Swiss back in 1987, so almost 36 years ago now. That was my first encounter. And resources were limited back in the 1980s. There was no internet or anything like that. Very few books on tarot. And so I struggled with the pip cards, and I used to read the majors only because I could understand what I was seeing in the images and interpret them. And then, you know, I went back into the Mormon church, and that was seen as a big no-no. So I kind of put tarot to one side. I always had oracle decks. And then in the beginning of the noughties, probably around 2001, I discovered soul cards by Deborah Chapin. And I worked with them, and I read for myself and others, very much using my intuition, because soul cards are just images. There's no keywords, there's no meanings. And so that's what I read with for a number of years. And then it got to about 2006, 2007, and I was browsing a metaphysical shop, and I came across the RWS. This version is by Conrad Stein. It's on MPC, and it's down as the PAM A. I'm not going to go, this isn't the video for going through all the different versions. But the one I got from the shop was called the original Rider-Waite deck. They didn't credit Pamela Coleman-Smith, who was the artist behind this deck. And I bought with it this book called the Tarot Bible. So I had my pack of cards and I had the Tarot Bible, and that started my journey some 16 years or so ago. and really got me back into tarot. But because the RWS has pictorial images for the what we call the pips, the ace through to 10 cards of each of the 4 suits, I was able to really learn the keywords and meanings, key phrases of this book, and as underpinning knowledge, and then my intuition, which I'd been building up over the years from working with the majors in the 1JJ Swiss and then subsequently the soul cards. You know, it became a kind of mishmash of both, having the underpinning knowledge but also relying on my intuition. Okay, so for those of you who, and this is what this video, this is a little bit dog-eared now because it's quite a few years old and it's had quite a lot of use. For those of you who are just starting out in tarot, there are a few things that I would suggest. And the first thing, which is first, obviously, is choosing a deck. Now, many tarot readers or tarot enthusiasts, aficionado, however you want to refer to them, will say to you, oh, choose a deck that appeals to you. And I agree to a degree. You know, if you're into cats and you want a cat tarot, absolutely fine. There is a tarot for every genre that you can think of. However, this video is about learning the RWS, and most tarot decks anyway, 99.9% of tarot decks that are out there on the shelves in shops or even online follow the RWS system. It is the world's most popular tarot system or tradition. You know, tarot itself is a system of divination, but a tradition. And this dates back to 1909, okay, this particular tradition. So my advice is, if you want to learn the RWS, then you can get a number of versions. The one that seems the most popular is this one. This is the one I got in 2006, 2007, the original Rider-Waite Tarot pack. And, you know, it's okay for learning about RWS. You can pick it up for about £10. It's not expensive. To illustrate, I went into my local metaphysical shop this morning just to see what was out there, and the Tarot Original 1909 by Los Scarabeo is one that I picked up for just less than £20. For me personally, this is better quality than this. The images in this deck are very sharp, very clear, and it remains true to the original 1909-ish. Certainly early 1900s anyway, and one of the iterations of the first deck. So do look for, if you want to learn RWS, do look for one of those decks. I'll just pop that back over here out of the way. All right, so by all means, if you want a deck that's got cats or dogs or aliens or whatever, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, Golden Girls, whatever you want, that is fine. I just think it'll be a little bit harder to learn. But the important thing is choose a deck where the artwork appeals to you. And I think for me, I just love Pixie's artwork anyway, but it is important that you're able to connect to your deck. Okay, that's first and foremost. So choose the right deck. But if you are wanting to learn RWS and you're using RWS books, I would get something like this. And again, go to MPC. You can get these for about £20, $25 if you're in the US. Okay, so once you've got your deck, my advice is just to sit with it for a bit. Just look at the images and think of them as pages from a storybook. what are we seeing in the images? Okay, so here we have somebody who's got his arms folded, his legs folded, his body language is telling he's very closed down, he's very insular. You know, when I first saw him, I just thought he was meditating. He's under a tree like the Buddha under the Bodhi tree, but he's very inward, he's very withdrawn, and he's not seeing what is on offer, okay? So again, no right or wrong, and don't let anybody tell you that your interpretations of the cards are wrong. People will, and people have tried that with me, but that's what I refer to when I say there's a lot of gatekeeping. People say, oh, but you have to do this, and oh, you should do that. It's whatever works for you. For me, it's having the basic knowledge, but it's also saying what I see in the cards, okay? So, to learn the basics, as I said, the first step for me is to sit with them, go through the images, you know, let those images become ingrained, and just go with what you're thinking. And then you're going to want to learn some of the basics, okay? Some people don't. Some people stop there and think, no, I want to read them purely intuitively. And I'm not here to say that that's wrong or right. It's whatever works for you. So I mentioned some books. I want to mention a couple of books. So the Tarot Bible is the book that I learned the RWS tradition with. I just found it so easy using this book. Now there's a lot in here. It's Tarot Bible. It's not just about, it gives you history of the cards. It's got all sorts of information. Aleister Crowley, Arthur Edward Waite. It talks about meditation, the structure. There's loads in here. And then at the back, you've also got things like working in groups, spreads, all sorts, astrology, chakras, you name it, it's all in here. But for me, the bit that I found really useful with this book was having a very easy, quick guide. So we've got here the Justice card. It's key 11. So in the major arcana, it's number 11. Now, again, that's particular to the RWS tradition, because in other decks like Marseille, it's number 8. And Strength, which is number 8 in the RWS, is 11 in Marseille, for example. And again, I'm talking about RWS here. And that's the only time it switches when we're talking about the major arcana. So what you get in a book like the Tarot Bible is zodiac affinity. So the Chariot here is relating to Cancer. Again, that's not anything I paid particular attention to. You know, astrology isn't my bag, so to speak. What I was interested in first was the keywords, because I wanted to learn keywords. So what are the keywords associated with the Chariot? Diligence, willpower, honesty, perseverance. And I would pull out one of those, because trying to remember 4 keywords, sometimes it's more. But for me, I would read through the key phrases, control over feelings and thoughts. For me, this was more about perseverance. If you're being pulled in 2 directions, learning to stick to the right path. So it gives you, as well as the keywords, some phrases. So it expands on those keywords. And now I found that really, really helpful. Also, which wasn't around when I started learning tarot, there are some kits you can get. So this is the simple tarot. I've got 2 versions in this. These are available as well online. You can get ones like this, which break the suits up. Okay. This is the version I wanted to show you though. I knew after the 2, I pulled the wrong one. Let me just put this back in its little pouch. Because the simple tarot, what it does here is it gives you the keywords. So here we have the Fool, okay? We get keywords, a faithful dog, indicating you're not alone. The Fool is the young adventurer leaping into the unknown. And then you get the keywords, innocence and enthusiasm, your journey has begun. And that is quite helpful. They kind of act like prompt cards, you know, where if you're learning things, you write down little prompt cards and you keep looking at them. Something like this is really useful. So I wouldn't use this to read for anybody, but if you're learning the tarot, I would use these as prompt cards. Devil is about temptation. You see the two people that are in chains, that represents bondage, excessive indulgence, obsession and addiction. So something like the Simple Tarot, which you can look up online and get, is really good for just having it alongside an RWS tarot deck to learn about the keywords and the basic interpretations. Another one to recommend, which is a mass market deck, is Practical Tarot Wisdom. And it's with the Radiant Rider-Waite, which is a variant of RWS. And this is by Arwen Lynch. And it's a little deck. And what you get here is half of the card is the image. So, I was going to say, it's going to probably take me forever to find. Oh no, I found the Hermit. So you have your Hermit card here. And then here, on the other side, are some phrases to help you learn about the meaning of the Hermit. So it's not so much keywords, it's more the key phrases in this deck. But this is a really useful little deck as well, just to learn the tarot. So Practical Tarot Wisdom by Arwen Lynch. I think she goes under Arwen Lynch Poe actually for that. So, Tarot Bible, about £15. It is a little bit tatty now. If you're in the UK, there is a shop over here called The Works. It's very often in there reduced to about £5. Another one that is really good is The Ultimate Guide to Tarot. So this takes it a little bit deeper. So as you will start to learn about the tarot and keywords and key phrases, you will notice there's quite a lot of symbols and symbolism within the deck. And what this book does, and this is by Liz Dean, is it gives you everything that's associated. So we've got the Hanged Man here. So you get your card, which is the image from the RWS, and then it has everything associated. So the alternative name is the Traitor. The number is number 12. The numerological link is the Empress. The astrological sign or planet is Neptune. The element is water. The Hebrew letter Mem. The symbol water of the oceans, meaning transition. Then it gives you the tree of life pathway if you're into Kabbalah. 13th between Hod and, I can't even pronounce them because I don't bother with the Kabbalah. The chakra is the third eye for intuition, and then your key meanings. So those key phrases, again, waiting, sacrificing, enlightenment. Then there's a bit here about understanding the hangman, and then a bit about astrology, a bit about the hangman in Kabbalah, upright meaning, and then when you go over the page, you have reverse meaning, hidden messages, the hangman's main symbols, and then the historical hangman, soldier of fortune. There's a lot of information in this book if you want to go a little bit deeper than the Tarot Bible. The third and final book that I want to recommend as well is The Ultimate Guide to the Rider-Waite Tarot. I wish this book, and it probably was around when I was learning tarot actually, but I didn't stumble across it until about 4 years ago. So 2016 is the first printing. Oh no, that's the 8th printing. So it goes back, the copyright is 2008, which is around the time that I was actually learning the RWS. But this book is excellent. So if I find the Hermit, again, just because I've got that card out here, although there's not a lot of symbolism actually in the Hermit, so I could have chose a better card. What it does here is it gives you the kind of basic meaning. So you get your basic meaning here. So you can buy this as a, just the one book. You don't need Tarot Bible. You can get something like this to get your basic meanings. But what it also does, it gives you the 10 most important symbols. So it shows you here everything, the white beard, what that symbolizes. You know, the lantern, what that symbolizes. The 6-pointed star that's inside the lantern. The staff. Everything you want to know, even the snow on the ground. So it breaks down, as you can see here in numbers, it breaks down the image and gives you meanings behind the symbols of each card. And it does that all the way through, even into the minor arcana, like the Six of Cups. We use this book in Jen Phoenix in her tarot playdate, and I would, you know, type into the group the meanings as we explored the cards. So again, maybe not a beginner's book, but it can be, because you've got basic meaning in here, okay? But if you wanted to go a little bit deeper and you wanted to know about the symbols, then this is a great book. So the 3 books that I would recommend is Tarot Bible, The Ultimate Guide to Tarot, if you want to go into other aspects such as Kabbalah, astrology, Hebrew alphabet, and stuff like that. And then for symbolism, The Ultimate Guide to the Rider-Waite Tarot. Okay. The other thing that you will obviously need to think about is have a basic understanding of the difference between each of the suits. So there are 4 suits. He says trying to find a cup. Okay, there are 4 suits. You have your pentacles, and there are 14 cards in each of the minor suits. Ace through to 10, which are your pip cards, and then you have your court cards, which is page, knight, queen, and king. And you have pentacles, swords, wands, and cups. The easiest way to think about these is the association with the elements. So pentacles is the earth suit, okay? The way I always remembered pentacles is because they're associated with the diamonds in the playing card deck, and diamonds are found in the earth. They're mined, aren't they, and taken from the earth. And this is an earth suit. A lot of people think of this as coins and money, which again is a part of the physical realm, but that's relating to earth. The swords is our air suit, which is relating to everything to do with like the mind, the intellect, and things like that, our thoughts. The wands is the fire suit. Fire is what drives us, the passion, what ignites us. And then we have the cups, which is the water suit, and that's our emotions, okay? There are 5 elements as far as I'm concerned. Yes, we have our earth, we have our water, we have our fire and our air, but we also have the ethereal, the spirit, and that's what the major arcana is, okay? That's the spirit suit. So kind of like it's split into 5. Major arcana, big life lessons, the spirit suit, the ethereal suit, and then the 4 minor arcana. Now, and this is just a quick reference really, but I used to struggle with the courts, really struggled with the courts, until I read this book. Now this is What the Fuck is Tarot and How Do I Do It by Bakra Whitner. I cannot recommend this book highly enough. It's a beautiful read. She shares a lot of personal anecdotes. I just love it. And it wasn't until I read this book about the court cards and seeing the courts as a family unit. So, you know, you've got page, knight, queen and king. The courts is very outdated. Okay, yeah, we still have a royal family in this country, but the courtiers is something I struggle to connect with, you know, pages and all that sort of thing. Whereas a family unit, I can really get on board with. And the way she would describe this is, here's the Wands family, and then you've got your daughter of Wands, which was the page, the Spitfire, the son of Wands, oh boy, mother of Wands, the real housewife, the father of Wands, the mogul. But she would describe the type of houses that they lived in, the Swords family, you know, and here's the Cups family, the type of house they would live in, because it's linked to, and there's this very stately home for the Earth family, the Pentacle family. So again, courts, there's many books on understanding court cards, but I really recommend WTF is Tarot. The main thing about learning the tarot over everything else, you know, we've talked about intuition, we've talked about books, learning keywords, key phrases, the difference between major and minor arcana and the courts. The main thing is practice, 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 okay? And go with your gut. You know, as I mentioned, seeing things as a storyboard, laying a few cards down together, maybe 3, maybe 4 random cards, and just looking at how they interact. What story are they telling? And it can be as weird and wonderful, you know. There was this beautiful lady who lived in the forest. She was very in touch with nature. She used to enjoy sitting out in the garden whilst her husband went to work each day, and he would toil away. They was hoping that one day their fortunes would change, and then there was an unexpected event. And you can keep going and keep reading the cards like a storybook, because it will help you to get to know them. Yes, you can do spreads. Spreads is a whole new video. I never really bothered with spreads. There are Celtic crosses that it seems to be the common one. I just tended to do 3 cards, okay? Lots of people, when they lay 3 cards, they think of past, present and future. For me, the middle card is what is the situation. And I would start off with, you know, if you're wanting to work the cards, keep it simple. What do I need to know today? What do I need to look out for today? What is the universe trying to communicate to me? This is the situation. And then I'd have what will help and what will hinder. And interestingly, you know, having strength will help, and what will hinder is if I don't, you know, clear my thoughts and get things right in my mind, because the anguish and the upset and the night terrors of the situation that I find myself in. So I need to address this, you know, and I need to have strength. Having the strength and courage going forward will help against the situation. So how to actually read cards? Well, that's down to you. What I would say is give yourself time, okay? Create a dedicated space in your home. It doesn't have to be a massive space. Not everybody's got a lot of space, but even if it's just a little table, give yourself time each day. You know, turn off your phone. Make sure there's no TV blaring in the background. You can have some nice music on if you wish, light some candles, light some incense. It'll help you relax. But find time to sit with your cards each day, okay? Do that little story. What do you see? And then, once you've looked at the cards and you've had a go at interpreting the cards, then grab a book. Grab a book, read what it says, and just see how close you are. You'll be really surprised how close you are to the book. So look at the cards, have a go first, before looking up the meaning, then have a look at what the book says. And then the only thing I would also add is journal. Write down things in your journal about what you're interpreting in the cards. So just write the date, write the 3 cards, write their general meanings, even if you're just putting a keyword for each one, and then a few thoughts about what you've seen in the cards or what you just read in the book. And then at the end of the day, go back to your journal and see if that played out, if it's helped in any way. Journals also help me to see patterns, because I forget. I've ADHD, so my mind goes off in 101 different directions, and I'll get halfway through the day and I'll think, what were my cards this morning? And then when I get home, I have a look. But they show patterns, they show cards that keep coming up over and over again. And when that happens, if you look back over your week and you see that the strength card keeps coming up, or it's been 3 or 4 times in the last week or so, then that's something that you need to pay attention to. So journaling really helps with that as well. Okay, so to summarize, choose a deck, one that you're going to connect with. But if you want to learn the RWS tradition, I would start with an RWS deck. Okay? Connect to your deck, however that works for you. Sit shuffling it, keep looking at the images, thinking about what the images are saying to you, and that will change daily depending on your frame of mind, your life state at the time. Some people sleep with their decks under the pillow to feel connected. I would say carry it with you, pop it in a bag, make sure it's close to you for a few days, few weeks. And whenever you get spare time, just keep looking at the images, letting those images sink in, and then start to have a go at interpreting the cards. Say what you see, okay? Practice, practice, practice. And then give yourself time each day. Find a dedicated space to read the cards. Again, look at the cards, lay them down. Start off with something simple like a 3-card spread. If you want to do past, present and future, if that helps, that's fine. As I said, I use the situation, what will help and what will hinder, and then have a go at interpreting them. Then look up at the book, see what the book says and how close you were to it, and then journal about what you discovered, what your thoughts were, what your interpretation was, what the book said. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. I hope it wasn't too rambly. I do have a tendency to ramble, but let me know your thoughts. And thank you again, Selena, for asking me to do this. It's 6 years in the making, but hopefully it was useful for anybody watching and is coming to tarot for the first time. Until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.